this is Midnight with Midnight Zero Astrology with my very first sun sign episode, Aquarius. I'm talking about you. I'm here to discuss Sun and Aquarius because someone really special to me wanted me to start with their sun sign. So here goes. I'm diving in. So, just as a recap from my sun video, I do think the sun is like our own little personal Leo in our chart and our most beautiful flower that's meant to bloom and emerge in ourselves, and it is meant to be seen. Our sun is demanding that people see it and people admire us for whatever qualities the sun is representing in our charts. So you have Sun in Aquarius. What does this say about you? So if your sun is in Aquarius, the most important thing to understand about this sun is that it is technically in detriment, meaning that the sun isn't so comfortable in the sign of Aquarius traditionally because it is dominant, it is domicile in the sign of Leo, which is your opposite. But I'm of the opinion that Aquarius is a very good sun sign to have. I actually think it's a strong sun sign. I don't really like to pay attention too much to detriment, domicile, fall, exaltations too much, only in some cases, but maybe I'm biased. I just love Aquarius Sun people. You guys are like my favorite. I'm close with several Aquarius Suns, and I think they're just such fantastic human beings to talk to and very unique, really live up to that unique status that Aquarius demands. First thing you need to understand about having an Aquarius Sun, guys, is that you are ruled by two very different planets. On one hand, you're ruled by Uranus, and that is a planet of revolution, innovation, sporadic change, future, and by Saturn, which is about old honored traditions, structure, rules, discipline, things of that nature. So you really do within you have like a cool teenager, rebel guy, and a grandpa within you. It really is like that. So you guys, it's so hard. Okay, I had a hard time doing this video because I could talk about Aquarius for like an hours, because you guys are really complex sign because of this dynamic of Uranus and Saturn kind of battling inside of you. You know, that this is also why within yourselves, Aquarius Sun people, you're so unique, because every one of you is like a mixture of your own unique mixture of Saturn and Uranus. You know, there's definitely groups of Aquarius Sun individuals that you will say, oh, they're very Saturn, you know, and then there's some that are just totally Uranus, and then every single mixture in between. It's important that you know your unique mixture of Uranus and Saturn, because they don't play nice together naturally, so you kind of have to make them get along within yourself to pursue your higher goals, to pursue your solar energy that's meant to be seen by everyone. So you guys are also really funny. I just want to throw that in there. I've had a lot of hard, good laughs with Aquarius Sun people because it's pretty out there humor and nothing's off limits, so it's pretty funny. Anyway, next thing to know about Aquarius Sun is that it's an air sign. It's of the element air, which is all about relating to others socially, the transmission of information from our brains to other people's brains, and also intellect itself, mental energy. That's what air is all about. And your sign is the most evolved air sign, meaning it's the oldest, the last air sign in the air trilogy. So we have the baby Gemini, then we got the adult Libra, then we have the old cool grandpa, you Aquarius, and each most evolved sign of the elements really carries big God energy, which is probably why a lot of people think that Aquarius have a God complex. But really, every evolved sign of the elements kind of do have a God complex. The only reason Aquarius is more known for it is because it's the most evolved air sign, meaning it's the most vocal about this God complex. But anyway, the most evolved signs, so Sagittarius for fire, Capricorn for earth, Pisces for water, and Aquarius for air. They are closest to the heavens. They're further away from the earth, which is like Aries, Taurus. The further away you get from that, the closer we get to the heaven. So they're closest to God. And Aquarius is also closest to the end of the zodiac wheel, the closest to Pisces. So, not only are they leaving behind the energy of Capricorn, they're reaching more towards the heavens with their own energy. So this is where that God complex comes from, and your God complex stems from you believing that you're gifted with divine reason, which you are gifted with divine reasoning skills and intellect. And when you use it for that higher purpose and honor your God energy, your sun really does shine like diamond rain, Aquarius Sun people. There's your quality. Your quality is fixed. Wow. So the most evolved air sign is of a fixed nature. That kind of sounds strange. Well, let's think about it. Air, as seen through mutable Gemini and cardinal Libra, what they have more in common with each other rather than with Aquarius is that it's harder for air to hold on to those really big intellectual thoughts that they have. They're more fleeting and whimsical. But with Aquarius, their superpower, being a fixed air sign, is that they get to hold on to these thoughts more easily, and they use them as their mental building blocks because they do like to build new structures in their minds to benefit society. And that is what makes them the most evolved air sign, because they can accumulate knowledge and build upon prior knowledge to make new knowledge. And how I like to think about this is, think of like a diver with a magical oxygen tank that just never runs out. I really do think you guys' fixed air quality is like a magical oxygen tank. It could take a diver to the depths of the ocean and they'll never run out of air. Just like you guys never run out of interesting things to say and shock us with. So from your position on the zodiac wheel, let's touch on that a little bit more. You're leaving behind the earthly self-advancement energy of Capricorn, and you're moving into energy that's more intellectual, that wants to not just advance yourself, but to advance society into a different time, into the future that they don't understand, that will benefit them. That is where you come in with that divine reason we talked about. And your opposite is Leo. So it's important to understand the opposite too. Leo is like the celebrity, the center stage lion, and they're shining their light on their fans, and the fans are shining light back on them. Well, Aquarius, you're within the fans, you're within the crowd, and not only are you celebrating the Leo, probably, you're looking at the audience, the crowd, and you see that there's a part of the crowd where the light from Leo is going and illuminating them. But then you notice this big section of people that Leo's not illuminating. You notice a part of the audience that's kind of getting ignored. And what you say is that, hey, I think that part of the audience matters just as much as the other part. And I want to do things that not only make me shine, but everyone shine together and transport us to a different reality. That's that kind of alien king and queen energy you guys have. Because you have this fixed air, divine reason brain, you could be very stubborn in your thoughts, which fixed signs are stubborn and set in their ways, hard to change. And it's the essence of your brilliant mind, is because you have a strong mind that's not easily swayed by others. But it's kind of difficult when other people are talking to you, because they can feel like they're talking to a brick wall sometimes. It's hard to change you guys' mind on anything, and I don't recommend trying to do this to an Aquarius Sun person, because you won't be successful most of the time. I've only been successful a few times, and it's been like things that have taken years upon years of just constant pushing into you guys' minds, and I finally won, but I've lost more than I won. But anyway, what's strange is that while they don't want to be easily swayed, they kind of want to change our minds about things. Well, why does this exist? Well, let's go back to that contradicting Uranus and Saturn rulership. So Uranus wants to say things that make us think different. They want to shock us with things. Okay, that's the Uranus part of Aquarius Sun people. They want to say things to shock us, to force us to think about why we do certain things. And they want that strong mental reaction in you. They want you to reflect. But because they're that God energy sign, they're looking from above at you. So that's why it's harder for you to influence them in that way, unless you're their friend. Aquarius people love their friends to, Aquarius Sun people love their friends to death, and they do have some influence over you. So you got power in that case. So I mentioned diamond rain. I want to talk about the real Uranus for a second, which is a really cool planet that you guys have ruling over you. It is a very unique planet in essence, and you know, it kind of validates astrology more for me, because it truly, if Sun and Aquarius people truly are diamonds and unique people, then shouldn't one of their planets be the same? Well, it is. Uranus is a very different planet. It's the only planet in the solar system that orbits on its side, and this gives it very extreme seasons. And I do believe it's the only planet that has diamond rain due to these extreme seasons, which is pretty awesome. It's also the only planet named after a Greek god as opposed to a Roman god, and I'm sure there's tons of more unique things about it. It's a beautiful, like, sea green color. It actually has rings just like Saturn, just not as many. Stunning planet. Very fitting for you guys. Uranus is where you feel like all this rebellious energy, like you want to push back on people mentally. You want to go against their conventions, and you want to establish yourself as someone intellectually different within your group. So you need to understand, when you're dealing with an Aquarius Sun, they're always going to be rebelling against something, and even if you don't realize it. And the main source of that rebellion has to do with their childhood environment. That's where they first started pushing back. So this could be like, they could be raised in a Christian household and be the only atheist out of the bunch. Or even the opposite, they could be raised in an atheist household and be the only Christian out of the bunch. Like, they're pushing back against something because they want to be seen as unique in different individuals, because that really is one of your light sources. That's one of the things that you're meant to be seen as. It's not you being pretentious, it's just your life role that the Sun is demanding from you, and you do rise to the occasion, guys. Big Uranus energy has you guys being very contrarian. You like to go against things, sometimes just for fun, you know, just to push things. It's important that you make sure you use these powers for a greater purpose. Like, when you're rebelling against something, guys, maybe take a step back and say, is this rebellion really going to produce a positive results? Because you guys are natural born scientists. You have that scientific mind, mad scientists. In my perfect world, you guys would all be in lab coats and be scientists, because to me, that's just so cool. Imagining Aquarius Sun scientists, how appropriate, because you're so smart and inventive. You start to, like, police your own rebellions. You could also start to see it from the other person's perspective, how you might be putting them off and they might not know how to react to you, and that could make you a more understanding individual of this behavior that you possess. The reason why you're so contrarian, even despite Uranus, is, along with Uranus, is the quality of air. The highest manifestation of air, or even the basic manifestation, is to gather knowledge. And the way we gather knowledge, in part, is by questioning things. And you use your rebellion to just question everything. You want to know why. The whys, the intellectual, objective whys behind everything, are of great value and interest to you. You rebel and you shock people. You really, as the end result of your little social experiments, you want them to change. And you want that change to make them a more highly intellectually conscious member of society, which you view as more futuristic. You guys don't really like anything socially ugly that you feel doesn't evolve society. You look down on those ugly behaviors that don't take us into the future. This is why this is very important to you. in the background, you also have this grandpa Saturn energy, this big, awesome Saturn energy. I actually love Saturn. I'm not knocking on it. I think it's an awesome grandpa to have. So I think the Saturn part of you is what gives you the drive and obsession of structures. Like, you guys love busting down old structures, but that's why they fascinate you, because you like busting them down. If you didn't have an old structure to blow up and create something new from, you guys would be very bored and unsatisfied. So you need these Saturn-y old structures to exist, and you often like to study them to understand them inside and out, because that makes your shakedown of these establishments more deep and intellectually sound when you actually understand them, because you have to understand them before you blow them up, before you create something new. And you guys are innovators. You have the mind of the future. You guys really are infiltrators of these systems, and it's so important for us as a society that you guys do step into these structures to make sure that they're heading into the future and not backtracking socially. So thank you for your service. It's important, just like when we're studying Leo, when we really study what the self means, this idea of the self. You guys are a self as well, but you really shine brightest in a group. A lone Aquarius is like a sad, not confident Leo. It's just a sad sight. An Aquarius with no friends is very sad. You guys thrive with friends. Friends are very important to you and sacred, and you do well in groups. You like to be different within a group, which is kind of interesting. It's very confusing Uranus-y, because you guys are individualistic highly, but you like being the individual in the collective group. You like being the different one in a group, which is why a lot of times you like to have friends who are kind of a little bit different than you. The thing that you like to bind you to someone else is if someone else will let you say whatever's on your mind without impeding you or judging you too harshly. You like that free flow of communication without restrictions, so you can bounce off your futuristic ideas, shocking ideas to other people, and you want to share and discuss that part of yourself, and that's what makes you a very good judge of character in this way. You have an eye for weird, and you can usually spot out the weirdos who are going to love what you have to say and be your ride or die friends. We are the friendship sign, Aquarius. Oh God, do not mess with an Aquarius's friends. They will not like that. They will not let it go unpunished or unseen. I've done it once or twice and I have been burned. I will never do it again. I don't recommend it. You guys need a lot of alone time, and kind of like Pisces, but for different reasons. You guys don't need to emotionally recharge as much, but you do need to intellectually recharge, and you like to have that distance between your friends, good friends or acquaintances, to really spend some time by yourself and digest all the information you've taken in from the day, because you do have, like I said, you view information as those building blocks, as fixed air building blocks that you like to make stuff out of. So you need this innovative intellectual time. And I do think that every Aquarius sun shines very bright when they have an intellectual project that they're working on. If you don't have one, try to get one, guys. So guys, because you value in friendships that free flow, that free flow of information, no judgment, no restrictions, just say anything. And that's why I love you too. I love talking with you, because I can say anything. That's great. Make sure you give that back to your friends. And sometimes that Uranus contrarian person in you can push back on that. And maybe the judgy part of Saturn might not make your friends feel comfortable in sharing everything with you. So just try to keep those energies in check, because I love it when I can talk to you guys about anything, and when you're in that mode where you're also being receptive, and it's just you guys are just the best people to talk to when the energies are free flowing. So have that be your confidence, your inspiration to keep those energies in check, because that is really one of the most shining points about you guys, is that you're just the best people to talk to, the best friends out there. That's you guys, Aquarius Suns. So people with Aquarius Sun, they really do get labeled as cold and emotionally icy, But there's a reason for that, and that reason lies within the ruling planets of Uranus and Saturn, and also the God energy. You have to take these three energies into effect, because they all give the reason as to why Aquarius can come off like this. Aquarius people are human just like everyone else. They have emotions. But a lot of times Aquarius doesn't take emotions seriously, period, in them or in other people, because they view them as temporary things and fleeting. Because they change so rapidly, they often don't take them seriously. They also, on the other hand, don't think their feelings are more special than the next person's. So on some level, it's intellectualization, and on the other level, it's like a divine sacrifice. Like, you guys are sacrificing your own emotions because you want to appear as this objective yet innovative spirit who can see the big picture of things without being weighed down by emotion. A lot of times you emotionally suffer for this. So if you love an Aquarius Sun, if they open up to you emotionally and show you those squishy parts, make them feel comfortable. Don't make them feel silly about it. And I think even if they don't vocalize it, they'll be very appreciative of that. So many times I've heard from Aquarius Sun people in my life, I have feelings too. Yeah, no. Yes, I know. I've heard you loud and clear. I know you have feelings. Please remember that you also have feelings, and that it's okay to let them out with the trusted individuals. I also want to mention that, it really bothers me to see you guys upset and emotional Aquarius Sun people. Nothing breaks my heart like seeing an Aquarius Sun break down emotionally. I have even hurt your feelings before, and I will never do it again because my squishy heart can't help it. It broke into two, and I was crying with you, and it was like making Jesus cry, and I felt so bad, and I asked for forgiveness. I was given the forgiveness, and I promise I'll never do it again. So because Aquarius Sun people are battling just strong energies within themselves, polar opposites, Uranus wanting to destroy everything, and Saturn, concerned about structures, discipline, all that, they have a lot of empathy for people because they know what they go through, and they don't view themselves as special in that way. They just view themselves as, a human trying to survive in this world in that way. So this is where I'm going to get a little wacky on you. I do think that, and I know this doesn't help the God complex, but with all the evolved signs, there really is a Christ-like quality to Sagittarius, to Capricorn, to Pisces, to Aquarius. And where I see that Christ-like element in Aquarius is like the love of their friends and the accepting nature that you guys have. You truly do respect, you truly do show respect to everyone. So you will respect the homeless person on the street as much as you respect your boss, as much as you respect your friends, as much as you respect a president of a country. That's something really beautiful about you guys. And I also want to clarify, I'm actually not a religious person. I don't have a religion per se. I hope I don't offend anyone with my Jesus reference. I just think he's a really cool guy, whether you believe it or not, believe in him or not. You could just look at him as a literary character if you don't want to think of it in a real sense. In a literary sense, he's also just very interesting, and it's the religion, one of the religions I'm most familiar with, so that's why I'm citing Christianity. But yeah, I do think that Aquarius is Christ-like, and it's almost like Aquarius and Pisces in this way of them both being Christ-like are hard to separate sometimes. You think they're so different, but when you think about their compassionate, empathetic parts, very hard to separate. So actually, one of my favorite books helped me understand the difference between Aquarius and Pisces in this way. It's called The Outsiders, and I really loved it when I was younger, and I still do. It's about it's a story about rival gangs in the 50s. One of the gangs is from the part of town. They're called the greasers. They wear the cool leather jackets, sunglasses, have greasy hair. And their adversaries are called the socks. They're the more affluent, rich kids of the neighborhood. There's a character who I love, who I always thought it was an Aquarius Sun, Pony Boy. And Pony Boy is reflecting on his complicated feelings for one of his brothers, I believe, Dally. So he doesn't want to acknowledge that the relationship bothers him sometimes or affects him emotionally. He doesn't want to admit to himself that he's bothered by the state of it. But he has a quote that's very revealing of his state of mind, and I think it is very reflective on how Aquarius thinks versus Pisces. So Ponyboy says, "I lie to myself every day, but I never believe me." And I think this is a very important thing to understand about Aquarius Suns. It's also another thing that makes them so unique, is that when they help someone, they really do help someone with eyes wide open intellectually. Sometimes as a Pisces, I could personally attest to this, when we help someone, we can get very Neptunian deluded into thinking that if we help someone, they're going to change, or, you know, it will never happen again, or they'll appreciate what we did for them. Aquarius doesn't buy any of that. He's like, Aquarius Sun people think, okay, I'm going to help this person, but I know they're probably not going to change, and they might not even appreciate it. But the cool thing is that you guys still do it anyway, because you view it as something, you know, compassionate, the right thing to socially do. And I think that's really kind and loving of you guys. You don't really get credit for that. And so those emotional realizations are really what separate Pisces, because in Aquarius, because like I said, Pisces don't really go into helping people with intellectual eyes right open like Aquarius does. So Aquarius isn't ignorant, and they're still going through the hoops for you anyway. That's pretty powerful. In terms of price, it really embodies the cult-like element of Aquarius. You know, you guys really do have a power in a group, because people look up to you and they respect what you have to say. They're fascinated by you because you're so different. So it's important that you realize your power over people in groups, because if you get too carried away with swaying people, you could turn into a Charlie Manson or a Rasputin, which are two very famous Aquarian Sun culty people. But yeah, the cult loves you and you love the cult, Aquarius. Also, just the radical nature of Christ, like him shaking up establishments and rattling the boat socially when he was on Earth. That's so Aquarius. It really does embody, like, studying the life of Christ and applying it to these God signs really does open your eyes about the connection that they have with each other. I want to touch on Aquarius and their friends again. They really do love their friends, Aquarius Sun people, and they often view their friends as like a second home, and often a home that they feel more comfortable in than their actual home. They really do view their friends as treasures. And actually, Jesus has a quote that really reminds me of how Aquarius must feel about their friends. So Jesus says, "Here's the lesson. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then when your possessions are gone, your friends will welcome you into an eternal home." And I really do think that Aquarius people collect friends as resources, as divine resources. And they see the power of social connections, and they thrive in these networks. They're big networkers. And they view it from that God energy standpoint from above as a really sacred circle that they're part of. And really, if you're friends with an Aquarius Sun, it's a pretty special thing, because it's hard to catch their eye. So consider yourself a chosen one. So let's talk about how to keep these complicated Saturn, Uranus energies balanced within you guys, because that's such a hard task. And I want to give you an inspiration for balancing these and telling you about the life of Galileo, who's a famous scientist from the 1600s who lived in Italy. Galileo was a Sun in Aquarius. He was formally educated, keyword formally educated, at the University of Pisa in Italy. And he is a very well-known scientist because he shook up something very old that people back in the 1600s believed in. So in the 1600s, people believed that the solar system revolved around the Earth, and it was a very close to their heart idea because the Roman Catholic Church was supporting this idea and really pushing it down people's throats. Well, Galileo, through his studies, through his structured studies, had proven that actually through his studies, through his observations, our solar system was orbiting around the sun, not the Earth. So think about the courage it took for this guy to go against the Roman Catholic Church on this really, old-fashioned idea that they were very stubborn about. But he didn't give up. He was very firm in his assertions, and he could back up his thoughts with these studies that he had done. And eventually his voice won, and the church changed their mind and accepted Galileo's theory, which is something that we still hold true to today. So this is why I think he's a great example of balancing these energies, is because he is an Aquarius Sun and wants radical change, but he still went through the traditional structures of Saturn. He went through a formal education to gain knowledge and social power, because let's go back to the opposite, Leo. And I'm not hating on Leos. I think this is really cute that you guys do this. But a lot of times Leos will not listen to someone without credentials. They won't listen to someone outside of their status also sometimes. And that's where Aquarius is very different in that way, because Aquarius truly believes that they can learn something from anyone. And I do want to throw in another Galileo quote. He has said, "I have never met a man so ignorant that I can't learn something from him." And Aquarius really does think that everyone can teach them a bit of information, even if they don't let you in on it. Like, you think they're not listening, they're being stubborn, they're really learning from you. They're storing what you said in their minds as a building block, and they're going to use that block for a future project. So trust me, they're listening. But anyway, back to my point. Galileo went through the traditional Saturn old structures of school because he knew that if he was going to convince the Leos and the Capricorns of the church, of the world, that he had to have something formal to back up his studies. It couldn't just be his radical Uranus opinion. So he did the Saturn side, but he also pushed with Uranus. He knew that this was an innovative idea. It was new, it was true, and it was going to take people into the future. So he used that rebellious spirit along with the traditional Saturn parts of him to create something futuristic and awesome, and something that we still use today. And I think that every one of you Aquarius Suns out there have this innovative, futuristic energy in you. You just have to look in your chart and see what the chart says about it, how it wants you to bring out this energy. You all possess it. It's your unique thing in this world that you were born with, and we're meant to stare at you and admire it. So yes, Aquarius Suns, remember, you have to play by the rules sometimes before you can break them up to create new rules and structures. This is a flip side of this example. An example of someone with too much Uranus energy and maybe not enough Saturn holding it together is, if you think of the controversial figure Alex Jones. My friend on Puro Astrology, I'll put the link to the video in my description, did a really cool chart reading of Alex Jones. And he is, any Aquarius Sun's going to be interesting to talk to. I'm sure I could have a cool conversation with him, but he's not as convincing as a Galileo type Aquarius Sun, because Alex Jones doesn't really have facts to back up things he says. He was not formally educated. He dropped out of school. So all the Leos in the world and Capricorns are not really going to pay too much attention to him seriously. So that's something to remember when you're trying to harness this energy. I hope that provides you a good inspiration to try to keep the checks and balances in order between Uranus and Saturn. Okay, you guys know by now that I love to relate astrology to music, and there was so much to choose from Aquarius Sun musicians, and I kind of went crazy. But the first person I want to talk about is a rapper called J. Cole. He has really cool long hair. and he raps about like really complicated social issues that the African American communities face today and in the past. And he like doesn't follow social norms of most rappers, and his music videos are just loaded with hidden social messages, and some in your face ones too. Like, they're really thought-provoking music videos and songs. So he does have this song called Middle Child, and I do recommend listening and watching the video, where he has this line that really shows the silent type of Aquarian confidence that a lot of you guys have. He said, "I ain't do no promo and still made all that noise." And this is something super cool about you guys, is that you don't have to market yourselves traditionally, because you're so unique and different that people just come to you a lot of the time. And that's something important for you guys. You want to be known and famous for being you. You don't want to be known and famous for being a more glamorous version of you. Just you and how you express your uniqueness. That's how you want to be known. And I think that's a really good example of that energy. He also talks in the song about how it's no fun if he's rich if his friends aren't rich too. So Aquarius. The next artist I want to talk about is FKA Twigs. If you don't know her, look her up. She's a beautiful doll alien princess, Aquarius Sun. And she has a song called Mary Magdalene, which I really love. And she has a couple of lyrics from the song that I think are very telling about the spirit of Aquarius. First, she says, "I learned you needed me. Yes, I'm going to open you." And Aquarius really do like to open our minds. They're pushy and fixed, and they're not going to stop until they feel like they've made progress in opening our minds and mental insight. They want to broaden that insight. And she also says, "I can lift you higher." And that they really do. They're represented by the star card and tarot, which is about hopes and dreams. And they really do like to lift everyone up closer to the heavens, closer to their dreams, and to a better world. She also says, "Come a little bit closer until we collide," which I think is really funny, because when you meet an Aquarius Sun person, it really does feel like a collision, a shocking collision, because they really do like enter your lives in such an abrupt way with their spirit. So a funny one I want to mention is a Colombian artist by the name of Maluma. He actually has a song called Felices los Cuatro, and it's a song, I don't want to say it's about cheating, but okay, it's about cheating, but it kind of has a lyric that's very telling of Aquarius Sun individuals. It says, "Si conmigo te quedas o con otro tú te vas, no me importa un carajo porque sé que volverás." And I think this is so Aquarius. What he says is, if you stay with me, or if you go with another person, I'm not worried, because I know you will just come back. And it really does highlight how Aquarius people in our lives that are close to us can be so chill sometimes if we just ignore them for a month, or we go away somewhere. Like, they really do have that silent confidence that I was talking about. They know they're so unique, and they have such confidence in knowing that they're so unique that you're never going to find someone like them. And if you leave, for sure you're coming back, because who are you going to find to replace them? No one. You're special, and you know it. Another Aquarian artist I love is a Japanese singer called Utada Hikaru. And she has a song called Simple and Clean. In Simple and Clean, she says, "Don't get me wrong, I love you, but does that mean I have to meet your father? When we get older, you'll understand why I said no. I don't think life is that simple." And this is so Aquarius to me, because a lot of times Aquarius people will, they will reject social rules and routines that are old and archaic to them. Like, if they're dating someone, they have to meet their father. I'm not saying every Aquarius Sun does this, but it's, you can encounter this with them, that they'll push back on those rules. And in their Saturn way and Uranus together, they want you to trust them. You need to trust them, because they're going to get mad that they're not doing this to be mean or cruel to you. And it doesn't mean that they don't love you. So they need you to trust that in the security of their feelings for you. But at the same time, they think that it shouldn't depend on completing an old tradition, such as meeting your father or mother. So I guess don't take it personal, but easier said than done. The last artist I would like to talk about is not even an Aquarius Sun band. I just happen to know a lot of Aquarius Sun people who love the band Tool, and I think Tool is actually filled with a bunch of Aries, Taurus, Scorpio people. But they have a lot of songs that I could see why Aquarius people would love because they're very thought-provoking. And one of their songs really reminds me of how Aquarius must feel sitting high up on their airy God complex throne, their divine reason, looking down on society, observing. It's a song called Right in Two, and you have to watch the music video. It's crazy. And the music video in the song is written from this perspective of a divine deity, like a god, looking down on humans and watching their behaviors right after he created them. And he's just confused by some of the things they do, which oftentimes Aquarius people are confused by, to them, silly things humans do that don't really help each other. So one of the lyrics says, "Father bless them with all this reason, and this is what they choose." Yes, like Aquarius people, like I said earlier, they don't like ugly behaviors that don't reach a future goal. So a lot of times they don't understand fighting and war over pieces of land, stuff like that. You know, they really are looking down with their divine reason and just being like, why are you doing this? But the last line in the song that I want to talk about, and I'll wrap up my video with this, is the line says, "How they survived so misguided is a mystery." Well, I'm here to tell you guys it's not a mystery. We have survived because of innovative souls like you who have taken us in our misguided old ways and brought us to a future. We need you guys to advance in this life. So if you don't feel innovative, if you don't feel smart, if you don't feel special, you are innovative, you are smart, you are special. You just have to look in your chart and dig that out of you. It's possible, and I know you can do it, guys. It's worth it for your diamond ring. Earn that diamond ring, come on. Thank you for watching my video, and I will link everything I talked about and more because I have so much to say about Aquarius down below in my description. And please let me know what you think, Sun and Aquarius people. I know it's impossible to describe you all, but I hope I even did you 2% justice because you really are one of my favorite signs, sun signs. And I think you're just as shiny as Leo, and you're just as uplifting as Leo. And I think that you exist to keep in authority figures. If you think of Leo as authority, this really is the axis of authority and the axis of celebration and appreciation. You keep the Leos of the world in check. You make them think in a broader way, and you make them think of the future, and you have the power to influence them for our better good. You also are good at celebrating everyone, and that makes you really special. Remember, you're the water bearer, so think of that water as your divine reason, and you like to share it with everyone. You want to give everyone a cup of your water, a taste of how you think, and you really do think that will bring us to a brighter future for everyone. So thank you guys for your service. Keep doing your thing. And oh yeah, how can I not talk about aliens? You guys love talking about aliens, and you're the best people to talk about aliens with. But anyway, thank you for watching my video, and let me know what sun sign you would like to discuss next. I hope you love it. Give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Midnight telling you bye.